Hello everyone, this is Crode giving you a shoutcast and Game 1 and Series 2 in this Clan War NightEnd versus Morrow Mouse Sports versus fnatic. So we have Mouse Morrow spawning as the red Zerg at the 6 o'clock position. Meanwhile, we have NightEnd spawning NightEnd spawning as the blue Protoss. So NightEnd, blue Protoss, Mouse Sports' Morrow spawning here at 6 o'clock position. Alright. Talked about the starting locations enough. This is going to be MLG Metalopolis or TSL Metalopolis, so there are no supply depots down here, and it is going to be a forced cross spawn here. So an Overlord will quickly be making its way across the map now. You can see a pylon now being set up by NightEnd as the probe now going to look for that Overlord, and it actually does see the Overlord. I'm pretty sure he actually saw it there, so he will now knows exactly where to scout out and figure out what exactly is going to be happening. Meanwhile, Morrow pretty much doing a standard build, nothing out of the ordinary just quite yet. We'll see if he tries to go for a fast hatchery or for an extractor pool or pool extractor. Those are the pretty common openings here. Now, Morrow, if I do know his game plan, he's really become a much more heavy macro style of play. He just gets a lot of drones. His army tab is really small for a while, and if you try to attack him or try to be aggressive with him, he all of a sudden stops droning up and then creates just enough amount of units in order to fend off any attack, and then goes back to power droning. So Morrow has become very, very powerful, or very strong as of late. Not powerful, very strong as of late. So he's become a really just well-balanced macro player, and I want to see how he does in this matchup, Protoss and versus Zerg, as a lot of Zerg players have been saying that they just really don't like to fight against a Protoss player because of sentries and colossi and being able to split apart that army, and we'll see whether or not this is going to be warranted. Morrow currently just getting up that spawning pool there. He looks like he will be moving down with some drones, and Overlord already in position. NightEnd still blocking the hatchery, as we may have a hatchery be placed down at some point by Morrow. NightEnd doing a good job of just constantly microing that probe, delaying the hatchery further and further, and getting pylon blocked once again. So NightEnd able to delay it once more. You can see an extractor now being queued up as we are going into a queen. No metabolic boost just quite yet, and Morrow essentially playing uphill battle right now, as I know he really likes to go into a macro style of play, and NightEnd is just doing a great job constantly delaying it. 4 Zerglings now finally making their way down. This pylon will get cancelled once more, as we are now going into a Forge expansion here by NightEnd. We already getting a Stalker. It is being chrono boosted out, in addition to the Cybernetics core researching that warp gate. A probe now will be quickly returning, as Morrow finally getting up that hatchery at the 4-minute mark, so that is a little bit delayed as NightEnd figures out what exactly he is trying to do. A second pylon now being placed down here, perhaps to hide some tech here in just a moment. Taking a look at the harvester count, 20 probes compared to 16 drones. A Roach Warren is also coming into play as well, so NightEnd has stopped his probe production. This is rather interesting to actually see NightEnd only sitting on 20 probes. Is he going for a 4-gate? Will he be warping in 4 gates? No, he is now going into a Nexus. But I really question NightEnd, if he is going to be going into a fast expansion, why he is not training up probes. He is actually allowing Morrow to catch up at this stage. And with a second queen now coming in, and now drones perhaps still power joining their way through, Morrow has now taken the lead. So that entire time when he was getting or delaying that hatchery, it's pretty much all for naught now. Morrow getting that hatchery up, has that hatchery up already, and will have a very significant drone advantage in just a moment, as we are going to see another round of drones being hatched into play, as a queen now tending to this hatchery down over here. We are getting another gateway. There is going to be a photon cannon being set up by NightEnd as well. So it looks like NightEnd also planning to play a much more macro style of play, just getting as many units as possible. You can see Morrow not harvesting gas, not teching the tier 2, getting a lot of queens. And this has become a really popular strategy for Zerg players as of late, where they just use queens and, if necessary, spine crawlers and their overlords to do some scouting. You can see that the Zerglings are all across the map, able to see a good portion of what's happening and able to intercept anything that comes their way. And also you can see Morrow still training up more and more drones as well. Now another 6 drones coming into play, And yeah, morrow really adapting to that very heavy macro style that I mentioned earlier, sitting on 37 drones, 38, 40 drones now, as he is finally starting to harvest gas, and we'll see what his long-term strategy is. So morrow has only spent a couple minerals on Zerglings so far, and I think this is really the future of Zerg, and as players just start to adapt, 12 drones now being trained up, as Zerg players are able to defend with those queens a little bit more effectively. Morrow now establishing his third base before the 8-minute mark, as a good Zerg player should, as the Zerglings is now still wandering around. NightEnd unable to really train up enough drones there, and this is still going to be an issue. NightEnd does have an assimilator down over here, but without any real pressure, things are not going to bode well for NightEnd. Level 1 weapons upgrade underway, claw upgrades underway for those Zerglings, as well as we are also going into a Twilight Council. So yes, Twilight Council definitely going to help. We do have Morrow also upgrading the Carapace upgrades as well. So double evolution chambers, upgrading both the weapons and the claw attacks. And this should work out extremely, extremely well, as Morrow now goes into a Baneling nest. Hatchery about halfway completed already. You can see a Zergling up on the high ground trying to make sure that a third base is not being established anywhere, as the level 1 weapons upgrade still being chrono boosted out. And now finally an Overlord trying to make its way inside the base to get as much sight as possible. NightEnd being forced to warp in Stalkers to shut down that Overlord, but the Overlord is still going to see these 2 additional gateways warping in, and also getting this hallucination. So Phoenixes will be trained. As soon as he sees those Phoenixes, Morrow knows an attack may be coming in, as the Zerglings are now doing a good job. Just fighting on creep would be very beneficial to them, as well as Morrow also has a lot of creep tumors in play, and that creep spread just getting more and more impressive. Pneumatized Carapace, in addition to the Ventral Saxel, Baneling bombing runs could be coming in, and Morrow has really impressed me with his Baneling bombing runs as of late, being able to drop into mineral lines. And one of the strongest assets of Baneling bombing runs is that I believe with the level 1 or level 2 weapons upgrade, your actual one Baneling is all it takes to destroy a probe. Or more importantly, or more accurately, it takes only one Baneling to destroy 8 probes if you are able to locate it correctly. Stalkers and Zealots now making their way out. Baneling movement speed upgrade, Ventral Sax, Carapace, ground weapons upgrade almost completed as well. Banelings naturally do 35 damage, so it does take 2 upgrades in order to deal 43 damage, but at 2 upgrades, they just deal so much and are able to shut down and destroy so much as well. We'll see if the level 2 weapons upgrade is started anytime soon, as the Stalkers are now making their way, and now we also have a Colossus, a hallucinated Colossus here. So the Stalkers blinking up onto the high ground with the help of a hallucinated Colossus, and brilliant play by NightEnd. NightEnd just dealing so much damage, gonna take down the critical spawning pool. The Zergling, or the Stalkers, are now trying to pull back. There is that one Colossus as well. Broodlings have been shut down, as now perhaps you are waiting for more and more to happen. A hallucination is gone. Zerglings and Banelings are now trying to get in position. Their Spine Crawlers are making their way over. Banelings able to sacrifice themselves. Zerglings also catching some of those Stalkers out of position as well. And Morrow in a bit of trouble, as he did lose some of that key tech. There are 2 Spine Crawlers now continuing to peck apart at those Stalkers. The Stalkers now trying to be very careful, trying to focus down this Spine Crawler here. The Spine Crawler will get off another kill, perhaps even 2 kills. Yeah, getting 2 kills. And now NightEnd losing the rest of these Stalkers there. The Zerglings unable to catch up, and now an Overlord has been lost. Drones now still being queued up. Harvester count 54 compared to 51. A lot of drones were, I believe, killed. Actually, no drones were killed. So Morrow stopping his drone production, only sitting at 50 or 70 now. Spoke too soon, as he just unloaded a bunch of drones all of a sudden. Level 2 weapons upgrade, level 2 weapons upgrade on both sides. Level 2 Carapace upgrades. Ventral Sax now being started. I thought that was started some time ago, but it may have been cancelled, it looks like, as the Spine Crawlers are now once again trying to reroute themselves, as the Stalkers really have no way to clear out these creep tumors until a robotics facility is up and running. A Nexus is now being placed down by NightEnd here. Income tab, 70 Harvester, or 69 versus 57. Significant income bonus for Morrow at this stage in the game. A Zergling quickly dying at the hands of a Zealot there, as the Stalkers now capture the Zonaga Watchtower. Both sides figuring out what they can do in terms of the long game. The Ventral, or the level 2 weapons upgrade, more than halfway completed. Ventral sacs about 30 seconds away, in addition to the pathogen glands. So as soon as we get that fungal growth down, those stalkers trying to blink away will be absolutely unsuccessful, and then the Zerglings will be able to surround them. There are a lot of banelings in play as well. Taking a look at the army tab is now larger for Morrow in addition to the economic tab, so Morrow needs to try to do something with this very, very strong advantage that he has right now, sitting on a 30 food advantage. And we'll see if it will be able to capitalize. Another hatchery has just gone down. It looks like another queen going to be trained up and transferred over, as well as we are now also going into hive tech. Spine crawlers once again on the move, gonna push their way out. Tried to be a much better natural defense location here after he saw the little trick by NightEnd to blink up onto the high ground there. We are getting a couple gateways warping into play, making it very difficult for the Zerglings to try to run in along that far side, as the queens are still being hatched out. Neuroparasite, in addition to Archons being added, so Neuroparasite being researched for the Infestors, and then the Archons also getting, also making their way into the field. And Archons with weapons upgrade do deal a lot of damage. The only thing I question is whether or why NightEnd is merging Archons with High Templars when Dark Templars are nowhere near as gas intensive. You can see that there are Overlords in the air. Infestors may get off of fungal growth. Spine crawlers are now trying to push their way out. Infestors do move faster, and there you go. Oh, no fungal. Oh, fungal growth trying to go down. The Banelings are trying to do carpet bombing runs, but they are unsuccessful so far. Banelings finally unloading themselves, and now so much damage, so much splash damage. Archons are still in the field, and they do deal 43 damage per attack, so that is definitely going to be a problem for those Zerglings, as those Zerglings are essentially one-shotted. NightEnd able to run away with these Archons as those shields recharge, but a Zergling massive swarm now coming in as well, so Morrow taking the time to drop Zerglings into the base. Zealots are now trying to warp in as well. Will it be enough to fend off this attack? The Nexus has been taken down, as you can now see the Zerglings are just trying to surround those Zealots on the low ground there. Zerglings also jumping into play down there as well. So both sides just dealing a lot of damage, and now Morrow dropping Zerglings over here as well. So the Zerglings just running rampant through the base, and now Zerglings just swarming all across the map. More High Templars are trying to make their way out. I do not see any Psystorm being researched at all, and NightEnd is definitely in trouble. The Infestors are trying to battle it out over here. And fungal growth being laid down, and those Archons quickly destroyed as the Zerglings pecking apart, and there's the GG by NightEnd. So NightEnd losing to mousesports' Morrow after some impressive drop play, dropping into the main base, doing a good job putting pressure on the front, doing a minimal drop here, and then an 8 Zergling drop back here all at the same time. Those Zerglings running through a mineral line when unaccounted for deals so much damage. Crackling upgrades underway, level 3 melee attacks in addition to the Zerg ground carapace, so those Zerglings would have been fully upgraded in just about another, 2 minutes or so, or 3 minutes. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Mouse Morrow taking game 1 in this best of 3 series, and taking game 1 in the second series in this best of 5 series between mousesports and fnatic. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening.